The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome to Microsoft Word Advanced. You're learning with Mo Jones. Let's take a look at what we'll be covering today. We'll discuss how we can add multimedia and graphics into a document. We'll spend some time collaborating on a document and tracking changes as well. We'll also be able to create some academic references and lists, things like table of contents, endnotes, footnotes. For Module 6, we'll take a look at different ways that we can secure a document. We'll also be able to create fillable forms and distribute them as well. And then we'll take a look at some other developer tools, such as creating macros to automate repetitive tasks. Go ahead and open up the practice file for Module 5 and come right back and we'll dive right in.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
I do have my practice file Word Module 5 open here, and we have 4 lessons that we have prepared for you. Here's the space for Lesson 1. So we'll talk about incorporating media. So we'll insert an online video. We'll take a look at the screenshot tool and the screen clipping tool here as well. Well, what I want to do, I want to go ahead and insert an online video. Now, why would you want to insert an online video into your Word document? It's a great way to provide a resource for your audience and maybe even a quick tutorial or some kind of how-to as well. To do that, I'll go ahead and click on the Insert tab, and we have a Media tab that's dedicated for online videos. So once I click here, Microsoft Word will tell me the different sources that I can use to stream video from. So for example, we can stream video from these different sources: YouTube, SharePoint, OneDrive for Business, so forth and so on. So I need to go ahead and copy and paste the address of the video. Now, Microsoft Word is not going to download the video for us. It's just going to act as a pass-through. So it will actually stream the video for us without taking up a lot of space in our Word document. I already have the video up here. I'll go ahead and click. So here's the video. I'm going to right-click on it. And what I want to do is copy the video URL. Go ahead and copy that. I'll go back to my Word document. And I'll right-click in the text box here. And I'll click on the paste command. And just like in PowerPoint, when you insert a YouTube video, we get the preview right here, so we can make sure it's the correct video that we want to add. I can even play it right here if I want to. I'm going to go ahead and click on Insert here. And just like that, here's the container for our YouTube video. Now, you'll notice that Microsoft Word is treating this as a picture. Because if you take a look on the ribbon, you'll see we get the picture format. So remember, all objects have a contextual tab. So there's a few things that we can do. We can go ahead and just give it a quick style. Right. We can even recolor it if we want to, believe it or not. So all the adjustments here that we can normally make to a picture, we can do it here to our video. We don't have any playback formatting options though. We do have the capability to resize it as well. And that's it. So it's a matter of just copying and pasting the link to the video. Now, once I click on play, it will open up the video for me. It will not take up the entire screen, but it will come in and at the basic window size here, and it will play within this window. Now, I'm not going to play the video because of my screen recording tool. There's a conflict, so it's actually not going to play. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and click on play and show you what the interface will look like. So as you can see, this is the container that it will play in, and we'll have the YouTube controls down here for this particular video. I'll click away. And so that's how we can insert a video from an online source. Now let's go ahead and use some other tools here. Let's take a look at the screenshot tool. I'll just go ahead and resize my video here. Just make a little room for my actual screen clipping here. So if I go back to the Insert tab, you'll notice on the Insert tab that we have under the Illustrations command group, we have the screenshot. Now, if I click on this drop down, I'll get two options. I can either take the full screen of an existing window, or as you can see, I have some available windows here. Here's my slide deck, my presentation, or I can take a screen clipping. So the screen clipping will basically allow me to take a clipping of pretty much anything on my screen. I'll go ahead and just grab the slideshow here. Okay, so my slideshow is running here in the background. There it is. So I want to go ahead and grab that. So I'll click here. And there you go. So it copies the entire screen here as well. And now I can go ahead and just resize this to my liking. And of course, I get all the picture formatting tools that I can use. Go ahead and put that in a frame if I want to. I'll just put a basic shadow here as well. And so that is the particular tool that we can use there as well. So another aspect of the screenshot tool is taking a screen clipping. So if you do not want to take a snapshot of an entire window, you can take a screen clipping. Again, this is going to conflict with my my screen recorder, but when you're taking a screen clipping, it's the same thing as using the snipping tool. So if I search for the snipping tool here, so here's my snipping tool. This basically allows me to take a screenshot or pretty much draw a shape around any portion of my screen that I want to. So if I click on new here, now I'm in clipping mode, and maybe I just want to go ahead and grab part of my ribbon here, like that. And I'll let go, and there it is. So it's copied to the clipboard. Now when we run the screen clipping tool, it's actually going to automatically insert that into the document for us. So that's pretty much how that works. Now what I can do, it's already on the clipboard. I'll go ahead and paste that in here. And there we go. So here's my 3 different types of media. We have my YouTube video, here's my screen clipping, and here's my window clip here as well. Just going to go ahead and move them around a little bit here so we can actually see them a little better. And there we go. So go ahead and insert a video from one of those streaming services. Just go ahead and grab the link to the video. Go ahead and insert the online video. Take a screenshot of an entire window. Go ahead and use the screen clipping tool as well. Make any adjustments as necessary and come right back. Before we finish up lesson 1, there is another way that we can actually add media to our Word document. And you may notice that there's no option to actually insert a video from your device. But one of the things that we can do, if you take a look, we can see that we have my videos here. So what I can do is, what if I want to go ahead and add a video that I can click on and play? Well, here's a small video that I have. It's about 3 minutes. I'll go ahead and drag this from my folder to my document. And basically what that does, it puts a little placeholder here for me. So now this is embedded inside of my Word document. If I want to go ahead and play this, I can simply go ahead and double click on it. It's going to open in my default media player. If I click open, opens up my media player here. Okay, and there we go. So that's a quick way. It does not play right inside of your document, but you do have the capability just to kind of park some videos in here and play them as needed. I can also add audio. So if I go back to my music folder here, and I'll drag this audio file to a particular place on the canvas. And same thing, if I double click here, this is going to open up with my default media player. And so now I can go ahead and play that media. Of course, we can make it full screen if I want to. Right? So just some other ways that we can actually incorporate other media into Microsoft Word. Just drag that video from your folder right into the document so that you can access it later with the default media player. Go ahead and drag that audio file from your computer as well right into the Word document. And there you go. Right. Excellent. So go ahead and perform those 2 tasks if you are able, and come back. We'll move on to lesson number 2. Welcome back. So I made a little space here for lesson 2. Now, we want to talk about integrating informational graphics or an infographic. Now, when we talk about an infographic, we're talking about SmartArt. So basically, we've learned that when we integrate text with some kind of visual, that it captivates your audience's attention more than just text. It also increases retention. So in this case, what I want to do is just create a simple infographic that demonstrates a learning path. So we're going to go ahead and learn Microsoft Word first, and then we'll go ahead and learn Excel. Then we'll go ahead and learn PowerPoint. Now, it's a lot better than just typing some text that says Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So let's take a look and see how we can go ahead and create this graphic here. And by the way, once we create the graphic, we can do things like recolor it if we want to. We can go ahead and give it a nice effect, make it a little more vibrant. We can also convert it to another type of graphic if we want to. So this is the world of SmartArt. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we can do that here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this graphic, and let's go ahead and dive in. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Insert tab. And from the Insert tab in the Illustrations command group, here is our friend SmartArt. Just 2 doors down from our little screenshot tool that we used earlier. So here's SmartArt. If you hover over it, it tells us that we can insert a SmartArt graphic to visually communicate information. We have things like Venn diagrams, org charts, graphic lists, so forth and so on. Well, let's go ahead and click on here. Now here is the library. So on the left pane, we can see that we have different options to choose from. Whether we want to express something as a list, as a process, as a cycle, we can go ahead and do that. On the far right, it gives us a preview of what the graphic would look like. And it gives us some information down here as well, kind of showing us or explaining to us how the graphic works. Now, some will be very basic and some are more advanced. As you continue to work with SmartArt, we can venture into some of the more advanced options that are available. For now, I just want a basic process. So if I click on process, I can see here are some different processes that I can communicate. Here's a step up process, kind of like 1 step, step 2, step 3. We have a step down process. And if you scroll, there's lots here that we can use. Some of these have more modern shapes that we can use to express a process. If I keep going down, we can even integrate pictures into some of these processes here as well. But let's keep it simple. Let's go ahead and create one. We'll create 2. The first one will be very simple, just a basic process. I'll go ahead and press OK. And here is our SmartArt. So how do we actually manage this SmartArt here? Now, when we click on the SmartArt, we'll notice that we have a SmartArt contextual tab. From the SmartArt design, we can do things like change the layout, and we can also go ahead and manage our SmartArt here as well. So if you want to go ahead and add another shape, maybe a 4th shape, we can move things around. But for now, let's just go ahead and add some text. Two ways we can add text. I can click right here on the shape, and I can go ahead and add my text in there. So I'll type Word, because we're going to learn Word first. And I could click on the second shape here and do the same thing, but I prefer to use a little text pane over here to the left. And you'll notice that this is a bulleted list. So SmartArt is based on the levels. Right now, these are all level 1 items. If I were to introduce a level 2 item, we would see another shape or a subshape underneath these other shapes here as well. If for some reason this text pane is not turned on, sometimes it's off by default, go ahead and click on this little arrow right here, and that will open it for you. So I'll go ahead and click on there. That opens it for me. And now I can just go ahead and enter my information here. So I'll say Word, Excel, and I'll press enter. And here's PowerPoint. Now notice when I press the enter key, it actually adds another shape for me. I do not need that last one for text, so I'll just press the delete key. So important thing to note here is we're managing the SmartArt by interacting with this list over here as well. We'll talk about that in just a little bit here. So that's how we basically add text to our SmartArt. I'll go ahead and add one more. I'll press the enter key. That allows me to add another shape here, and I'll include Outlook in here. And I'm good to go. So there's my graphic. At this point, I can decide if I like the way that it is, or I can go ahead and do something like change the color. So I'll click on SmartArt Design, and I'll go ahead and change the color. And I'll go ahead and give it a quick style as well. Maybe I want something a little more glossy. So lots of color palettes to choose from. Here's the colorful. And as we hover, we get the preview of what it looks like. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colorful palettes to choose from. I'll choose this one. We also have different accents. So depending on the theme that you're using for Microsoft Word, we have different accent colors that can be used. So a lot of options here to be able to do that. I'll choose that one, and then what I'll do, I'll go ahead and give it a quick style. So I'll give it a polished style. Maybe that's a little too intense. I'll just go with the intense effect here as well. We can also resize this graphic if we want to. It is a shape, so we can resize it. We can also specify the layout options here as well. So those are the basics with inserting SmartArt. So go ahead and insert some SmartArt. We'll come back and we'll take a deeper dive into SmartArt as well. Welcome back. Hopefully you're able to add your SmartArt for your particular process. I want to make some changes here. Well, what I want to do is maybe I want to go ahead and change the type of graphic that I'm using here. So what if I just don't want these, it looks really nice. We have these arrows and we have these rounded rectangles. I'm going to click on SmartArt Design. And one of the things that I can do is I can change the layout. So if I click here, I can see the layout. Now, because I chose a process, here are the different layouts for a process. So here are the different ones: step up process, step down. So these are all processed. So I can do something just like hover over each one, get a quick preview to see what it looks like. So here's the step up process. Here's the step down process. That looks pretty good. Okay. This one is an accent process. This one allows me to add a picture behind it. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll choose this picture accent process. When I click on it here, it allows me to choose a picture from File, Stock Image, Online Pictures, or Icons. I'll look for an online picture, and I'll look for a free-to-use Microsoft Word logo. I'll go for this old school logo here. And there we go. Pretty nice. I'll grab one for Excel. It's usually a little hard to find Excel. I'll go for the old school one here. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, that works. PowerPoint. And why not? I'll go for the 2007 variety there. And there we go. Now, what I can do as well, since we're talking about managing SmartArt, what if I don't want to include Outlook? I want Outlook to be removed. So I can go ahead and remove it. But again, just by using the list here, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it here from my list in the text pane. I'll head up to PowerPoint and I'll press the delete key. And so now my list only consists of 3 items, and therefore my SmartArt only consists of 3 items here as well. What if I wanted to move PowerPoint into the second position? Well, I can do the same thing. I can kind of move it up here. But if you take a look at the ribbon here for SmartArt Design, we can see that based on what I have selected, I can either move it up or down in the sequence. So right now I'm on PowerPoint, not getting the select box over here, but that's okay. I'll click on PowerPoint. I'll click on Move Up. And notice how it moves the picture, the shape, and the text for me as well. Right? If I want to move it back down, I can go ahead and do that. So that is how we adjust this here as well. Well, I want to do one more thing here. I want to add a little more context for my word. So again, I'll manage the list. I'll press Enter. I'll tab over, and I'll just say Create Documents. So it did not create another shape for me, but it does give me extra room here to add text. Some of the SmartArt graphics, they will add another shape. Some of them have multiple tiers. This is a simple SmartArt graphic. For PowerPoint, I'll do the same thing. I'll say Create Presentations. And for Excel, I'll do the same thing. I'll say Create Spreadsheets. And there we go. Now, what we can do as well, if we wanted to recolor these individually. So if I click on the shape here for PowerPoint, and I click on the Format tab, so I can do a shape fill here. Let's see if I have a style that I can use. Maybe I'll give it this style here. Excel's already green, so we're good to go. So those are the different ways that we can manage our SmartArt as well. So I'm good to go, but let's go ahead and see if I change this to another graphic, what will happen. Let's see if there's any other picture graphics available. Let's see, here's one, continuous picture process. So this still incorporates our shapes, text, and images as well. Right. Here's another one, basic bending process. And we are good to go. Right. So go ahead and modify your SmartArt. Go ahead and take a look at the other layouts that are available and come right back. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and annotate our document with the drawing tool here. Now, if you take a look at my ribbon, you'll see the Draw ribbon tab. If it's not on, we can go ahead and turn that on from the Word Options dialog. We want to customize the ribbon. So I can click on the File tab and then click on Options. And we get to this pane here. Once we get to the word options, I'm going to go ahead and click on Customize the ribbon. Over on the right, we'll see all of our main tabs, such as Home, Insert, Draw, Design. If your Draw is not turned on, you'll notice that it's unchecked. Just go ahead and make sure that it's checked off. And once it's checked off, just go ahead and press OK. And it will now be displayed on your ribbon. There we go. So here is the drawing tool. Well, what can we do with the drawing tool? Well, there's a couple of different command groups here. We have drawing tools. We can do things like erase. We can use the different markers here to annotate or draw things. We have a ruler that we can turn on. Then we have this capability to ink to shape. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. It's currently turned on right now. Let's just take a look at our first marker here. When you click on our marker, you'll notice that you have some secondary options here, such as the thickness, and you can change the color here as well for the particular marker. Well, I just want to go ahead and highlight a few words here. I'll highlight create, and I'll highlight the drawing tool. So that's how that works. Our document now has embedded these drawings here as shapes. If I want to delete them, just use my little eraser here and delete them. I'm going to go ahead and use the other pen here, and I'll change the thickness for this one. Well, this one is already a little thicker. So we can see this one is a little thicker here. I'll change the thickness. I'll make it 1 millimeter. And there we go. Finally, I'll go ahead and change the color. I'll give it this orange color here. And I'll draw a little arrow there as well. So that's how the drawing tools work. But the good thing is they're not just temporary. They will remain on our Word document here as well. So it's a great way to kind of point to things in your document or to just kind of annotate things here as well. Next thing I want to do, maybe instead of drawing lines, I want to go ahead and maybe highlight these different text. So I want to maybe draw a shape around it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these here. And I'll click on the ink to shape option here. So it automatically refines my hand-drawn shapes. I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle around annotate here. And we can see it turned my squiggly rectangle into a perfect rectangle. Right. I'll draw an oval around my, let's see, around SmartArt. And there you go. So it snaps it into an oval for me. Now these are actual shapes. So when we click on them, we can do things like we can rotate them and we can actually resize them if we want to. I'm going to move this over a little bit, just like that. So it's not interrupting my other word to the left here as well. So we can do that. We can even click on the shape format and we can do something like give it a quick style as well. So just different things that we can do here with the draw. I can go ahead and delete that shape. Just click on it and press the delete key. Okay. We do have ink to math. So what if I wanted to add a math equation down here? I don't have on my keyboard, I don't have all the symbols for the different mathematical equations. So if I click here, I get a little math input control. And I'll just write a basic formula. I'll say y equals mx plus b. So as you can see, it converts it to the proper font here as well. I'll go ahead and click insert, and here's my little equation, y equals mx plus b. I'll do one more. I'll put this one over here. Let's see, I'll go down one line, and I'll do into math. I'll say force equals mass times acceleration. And there we go. So pretty cool things that we can do with the drawing tool here. Let me click away from that. I'm going to turn off the ink to shape here. And I'm going to actually add, I want to insert a canvas. So actually, let's see if I can remove these, delete these. I'm going to use the drawing canvas here. So this basically insert a drawing canvas for me. I can resize it. And this gives us a little free-form area that I can use to just kind of annotate something. So maybe I want to do something like, create a little brainstorming here as well. So here's my kind of like my main idea. And now I can go ahead and just kind of free-form some brainstorming here. All right, so maybe this is idea 1. Idea 2, 3, maybe 4 is a really good idea. And then so forth and so on. So it just kind of gives us a little free form here that we can use. Once we're done, it's basically a shape. Welcome back. So we'll take a look at just a few more features here that we can use when it comes to the drawing tool. One of the things that we can do is we can format the background. So we can add rules or grid lines. So if I click here on the format background, I can go ahead and notice how I have the lines here on my document. I can go ahead and maybe use the graph paper format here. So here's a nice little graph that I can use. I'm going to go ahead and resize my shape here. And so here's this little graph that I can go ahead and use. I can also turn on the ruler. So here's the ruler. So I can move the ruler. And the ruler basically allows me to just draw straight lines. So if I want to draw a line through here, I can go ahead and do that. If I want to rotate the ruler, I can just scroll down on my mouse or scroll up on my mouse. That will rotate it. Right? So I can do something like that. I can just draw lines through my document like that as well. I'll go ahead and turn off the ruler. Now, one of the things that we'll take a look at is the action pen here. Right? So let me click on my select here. I'll scroll up and I'll turn off that background. I'll say none. And basically with the action pen, it allows us to edit with natural gestures. So I'll turn it on and I'll click on the down arrow here and I'll click on ink gesture help. So it opens a little pane over here on the right and it gives us some gestures that we can use to modify our document. So naturally, if we wanted to delete a word, we would kind of scribble through it like that. To select a word, we'll draw a circle around it. We'll add a new line. So we'll take a look at those three here as well. So what if I wanted to delete this word? I actually didn't do that correctly. It's trying to thinks that I want to insert a word. There we go. So that deletes it. If I wanted to select a word, maybe I'll select this word here for tool. So it basically selects it for me. So now I can do something like highlight it or change the font or so forth and so on. That's what I can do. And then we have add a new line. So if I wanted to split this line here, so it splits that line for me, pushes everything down to another line. Right. So pretty nice. We have some other ones here, like how to split a word or join a word or insert words into a sentence. So if you were kind of a classic writer and you prefer to use these natural gestures, you can go ahead and use these here in Microsoft Word. Some basic edits to your Word document here as well. The other thing is we have the Galaxy Pen. So the Galaxy Pen just kind of gives us some really nice, interesting colors here to work with. So using the Galaxy Pen, we get these really dynamic types of pens to work with here as well. Go ahead and change that to a rainbow color. And there we go. So go ahead and check out the action pen, check out these gestures, see if you like them, and come right back and we'll move on to lesson number 3. Welcome back, and let's go ahead and move on to lesson number 3, collaborating on documents. Now, the first step to collaborating on a document is that you need to save it to one of Microsoft's cloud-based services. We'll be using OneDrive in this case. So the first step is to click on this share icon here. Now, once we click on the share icon, we'll be provided with the capability to either save our document to OneDrive if it has not been saved. If it's already been saved, we'll get the share dialog here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on share so that I can go ahead and first save it to OneDrive and then be able to share the document. So my document is shared to OneDrive, so I'll go ahead and click on the share icon. We can also get here by clicking on the File tab and also clicking on the share dialog here as well. We can also do it from there. I'm going to go back and I'll click on the share icon. It's right here. And because it's saved to OneDrive, here is the share dialog box. So just a couple of things that we want to make note of here in terms of when we're sharing, we want to make sure we know who are we sharing it with, how are we sharing it, and what type of access should our recipients have here as well, right? So for the who, I'm just going to go ahead and share this with my secondary account, right? So just my sandbox account here. How do I want to share it? Well, I'm going to go ahead and use a link. And I want to make sure that my recipient has edit access. So I'll go ahead and fill this out here. So the first thing I could type in the email address in here if I want to, right? So I can send it by email, but I'll just go ahead and copy the link. Sometimes it's more efficient to copy the link, especially if you are collaborating with several of your colleagues here as well. So I want to make sure that my recipient can edit the document. So if I click here, notice I can either say, you can only review, so can make suggestions, or can view. So basically you can either view it, but you can't make any changes to it, or you can add comments to it. But this is collaboration, so I want to make sure that the edit access is granted here, right? So I'll say anyone with the link can edit this document. I'll click on apply, and now I'll just go ahead and copy the link. And that's it. So now this document is shared. I can go ahead and paste that link in an email or in Teams or another Microsoft application, any way that I want to do it here. I'll go ahead and close this. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Sandbox account and open this document in my other environment. Okay, so let me go. So here is the environment, my Sandbox environment. I'm going to paste the link in here. And here is Word opening up in the web. So this is basically Adele. So this is Adele's mailbox here. And so now I can come in here and I can actually make some edits if I want to. I'll scroll down to lesson number 3. And maybe I'll go ahead and do something like insert a comment in here. All right. I'll say thanks for granting access. Go ahead and send that here. I'll go back to my Word document and let's see what the environment looks like now. Now, because one of my recipients is actually working in the document, I get a quick cue right here letting me know that I have a guest contributor, and I can see the icon showing up over here as well. If this were a colleague that's inside of my organization, I would actually see their avatar showing up here. But either way, for each contributor that's in here, we can see their avatar and we can see what they're actually doing in here as well, right? So Adele inserted this comment here that I can clearly see. I'm going to go ahead and turn on tracking changes. Right? And we'll take a look at that in just a little bit. Now that I've shared this document with Adele, I can see Adele is currently working on the document, inserted a comment, and I can see exactly where Adele is working in the document here as well. Right? So at this point, maybe what I want to do is to start tracking changes. So to do that, I'll click on the Review tab. And while I'm on the Review tab, I'm going to go ahead. So there's two really command groups here. We have one for tracking and we have one for changes. First thing I want to do though is turn on track changes. And then optionally, I can decide what I want to see. So I'll turn track changes on for everyone. So any changes that are made to the document, Microsoft Word will notify me, and then I have the capability to review those changes and either accept or reject them. So at this point, we just want to go ahead and make a few changes here as well. Optionally, if I want to see different levels here. Right now I'm seeing all markup. We can change these a little bit later to see what details it provides us once changes are being made. But for now, I'll leave it on all markup. Some other sub-level options here, show markups. What do I want to see? I want to see insertions and deletions, formatting, any updates. And then we have balloons here. We can show revisions in balloons, in line, or only formatting in balloons. Well, I want to go ahead and start making some changes. So we'll just expand my list here. And I'll just say save to OneDrive and then share. So we can see we're getting some cues here. We can see we have this line indicating that a change is pending here. And we can see that the text is also highlighted here as well. I'm going to head over to Adele's, and we can see the changes. We can see the updates are already here. So for Adele's going to go ahead and insert just a little table here, and just a couple of different processes here. So we'll say review tab, and we'll go under tracking, then we'll turn on track changes. Right. So that is what that looks like. So Adele can also see those pending changes here as well. If we click on the review tab here, we have a simplified version for Word on the web. So here's a simplified version of the tracking. We don't get all the details, but we still have the tools we need. So we can track changes, and then we can go ahead and either accept or reject them here as well. So we can do it in either interface. Let's go back. We'll keep it simple. I'll go back to my Word file here. So now I have to go ahead and either accept or reject these different changes. One of the things that I can do here in Word is I can turn on the reviewing pane. So under the tracking command group, here is the reviewing pane. I'll show that on the vertical stack. So if you were ever assigned the daunting task of tracking changes in a document, you may want to go ahead and turn on the reviewing pane. Here it shows kind of a high level. I have 4 revisions. Here are the different revisions that I need to go ahead and make a decision on. If I click on each of those, let's see, I'll go to this one, and maybe I'll go ahead and accept this first revision here. Right. And I'll go to the next revision. This way I can cycle through them. I'll accept that one as well. For this one here, I'm going to reject this one. So that one is not on there. And I'll just keep cycling through them. So I'll go to the next one, and I'll reject that one as well. I'll accept that one. And it basically tells me that I am done here as well. Well, here's my comment actually. So what I can do is I can click here and I can choose resolve thread. And that basically takes care of that for me here as well. Now let's see if I can undo all of that. Another thing that I can do is I can say something like accept and move to the next one, or I can accept all changes, or I could accept all changes and stop tracking. I can also say, you know what, reject this particular change and move to the next one. Reject all changes, and I can also reject all changes and stop tracking as well. So, but let's take a look at the different views here. So right now we're looking at all markup. I will turn off the revision pane here. Right now we're seeing all markup. Let's change that to simple markup. And for the simple markup, we can see the difference. We still have this line here indicating where the markups are, but we don't get the underline and the colors of the different changes that were made here as well. If I click on no markup, then it just doesn't show anything. And if I go back to original. This is the original state of the document before any changes were actually made. So that's what that is for. I'll go back to all markup, and then I'll go ahead and accept all changes and stop tracking. And there you go. So if I accept all changes and stop tracking, I'm good to go. I'll reply to this comment. Then I'll go ahead and resolve this thread. We can also delete all comments if I want to. So I can go ahead and delete all resolved comments. That removes the comments for me. If you have multiple comments, it's a useful tool to be able to just delete all of them with one click of the button here as well. So at this point, I'm no longer tracking the changes. Let's go back to Adele's version and see what that looks like. Let me refresh the screen here. And let's see, we turn off the changes. There we go. Let's refresh again. So it just took a little while to sync. Okay, so even though I don't remember turning on the track changes here, but it was on. Either way, that's how we turn it off. And now Adele can see that I am working in here as well as Nestor. Very good. So that is how we are able to collaborate on a document, be able to track changes as well. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and move on to lesson number 4. The first thing we'll do, our first academic reference that we'll add, is a list of cross-references, right? So to do that, we need to go ahead and click on the References tab. And over here in the Captions command group, we have our cross-reference. So what we want to do is insert a table of figures. So this will allow us to add a list of caption objects and be able to see what page they're on and be able to click and jump right to that object there as well. Now remember, objects can be pictures, tables, things of that nature here as well, even icons. The first step is to caption or label a picture or an object. And once we have labeled them, we can go ahead and insert a table of figures. So I'll go ahead and I'll go to the top here. I'll press Control Home to go to the top of my document. I do have an image here. So I'll go ahead and click on this image and I'll click on Insert Caption. So here's my image. I'll go ahead and insert a caption for this particular image, and that will add it to our little table of figures database here. So I'll caption this. Now, when I'm captioning this, I can have two options. I can either keep it simple or I can have a more advanced option here as well. So notice it's giving me the automatic caption. So this is figure 1 because I do want to insert a table of figures. So I'll have figure 1, figure 2, so forth and so on. Now, if I just want to insert one table of many different objects, such as, an equation, picture, a table, so forth and so on, I can do that. If I want to caption each object as an icon, as a picture or a table, I would need to insert 3 different tables of figures, one for pictures, one for tables, icons, and so forth and so on. Right? You can also add a new label. So I actually added a new label for any icons that I have in this document. To keep it simple, I'm just going to insert everything as a figure. So I'll click OK here. So that's 1. So it adds the caption right here above my picture for me. I'll go ahead and capture this picture. So that's figure 2. I'll go ahead and press OK. And I'll go down. I don't have any tables in here. Let's see if I can caption this SmartArt. There we go. Here's figure 3. And let's caption my little drawing here as well. We do have a table. I'll go ahead and caption this table here. Okay, so notice I'm not labeling things as a picture or a table. Everything is a figure. So I'll go ahead and press OK. Now towards the end of my document, I want to go ahead and actually insert my table of figures. So I'll say table figures. I'll press enter. And then now I'll click on insert table of figures. Here's the table of figures dialog box. So this is what it would look like, figure 1. And then it will provide the page number that it's on. And I'll also have a hyperlink capability here as well. So I can use this exactly the way that it is. Notice down here on the bottom left, I have to insert a table based on how I labeled things. So because I labeled everything as a figure, I can just press OK. But if I labeled a few items as pictures, I would need to insert a table for all of my picture objects, another one for all of my table objects, so forth and so on. I'll just go ahead and press OK. And here are my table of figures. And so now what I can do is I can go ahead and I can control click, and that will bring me right to that particular item that I captioned here as well. Now, if you notice, we don't have the names in here. We just have the actual figures. Let's go to the end of the document. I'll press Control End. Now, when you're actually capturing an object, let me caption another one here. We'll go ahead and just insert a quick table in here. Just a 2x2 table. I'll go ahead and caption this. So if let's see, I'll just go ahead and caption this. So I'll insert a caption. And right here after figure 6, let's see if I can type something. I'll just go ahead and call this caption table. And I'll go ahead and press OK. If I go down to my captions here. So I added another caption after my table of figures was entered here. So what I need to do is right click on it and click on the update field command. And I'll update the entire table just like a table of contents. And as you can see, it adds my figure 6 down here. And because I added the text while I was captioning that particular object, I can get a little more detail here. It's the caption table. So these are just different ways that we can insert a table of figures. I prefer to do that rather than using a cross-reference or index, because the table of figures gives us the capability to jump right to that particular figure. So go ahead and caption a few objects and then go ahead and insert a table of figures and come right back. Now, inserting bookmarks is an excellent way to basically mark different places in your document and be able to navigate to that particular space here as well. So bookmarks is a type of hyperlink that we can use to jump to a place inside of the actual document. So we'll take a look at bookmarks and we'll take a look at hyperlinks, and let's see how they behave differently here. I'll go ahead and bookmark a few items. Now to jump around, I'll turn on my navigation pane here. And because I'm using the heading 1 style, I can see that I have my headings here. So I can jump from one place to the next. I'll click on lesson 1 here. And I'm going to insert a bookmark right here where it talks about inserting media. So what I'll do is click on the Insert tab. And right here on the Insert tab, I want to go ahead and I'll place my bookmark actually right here. So I'll just click on bookmark. And that's all I need to do. So I'll place my cursor right here. I'll click on bookmark. I'll give the bookmark a name. I'll just call this lesson 1A. Now the bookmarks, they don't like spaces. That's why it doesn't work if I put a space in here. Notice the add is grayed out. So make sure we don't have any spaces. So I'll call this lesson 1A. I'll go ahead and click on add. I'll jump down to lesson 2. And let's see. I'll create a bookmark right here for annotate. So this is where it talks about annotating. I'll go ahead and add that. And I'll go down a little bit here, maybe to lesson 3. And this one talks about save. I'll use the underscores instead of spaces. So save to cloud. And I'll go ahead and add that. And let's see, bookmarks. Do one more. So I'll say adding underscore bookmarks. So there are my 4 bookmarks. So what this allows me to do is, what if I want to create like a little navigation table here? We'll just say this is navigation. Right. And I'll go ahead and do this. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and jump to those different bookmarks if I want to. Now, one of the things that I can do when it comes to accessing those bookmarks, I can use the shortcut Command plus G, or the go to command. So if I press Control G, now that I have those bookmarks in here, I can click on bookmarks on the left pane, and here I can jump to one of these particular bookmarks. I want to jump to annotate. I'll click on go to, and that brings me right to where that annotate bookmark is there as well. So that's what I can do. I'm going to go ahead and press Control End to go to the end of my document. Another thing that I can do is I can say something like jump to, well, you know what, let's just insert a hyperlink. So I can press Control K. So right here, I can click on the Insert tab, and here is the link command. I can also press Control K to bring up this dialog box. Now the important thing to note here is that when we're inserting a hyperlink, there's a couple of things it's asking us for. Do we want to insert it? Do we want to link to a web page, so an external site, or do I want to link to a place in this document? Well, let's take a look at a place in this document and let's see what options we are provided with over here on the right. So when I click on place in this document, notice how it shows the structure of my document. And look at the different things that the different elements that we can navigate to inside of our document. So any of our headings. So here are my 4 headings. These are all heading 1. Notice we can also see them over here on the navigation pane. So that's why headings are very important in Microsoft Word. Table of contents, navigation pane, and navigation as well. But down here are the bookmarks. So if I want to go ahead and, let's say I want to go ahead and jump to lesson 1A, that's all I have to do. Click on it and click OK, and I'm good to go. The text to display changes to lesson 1A. I'll just say jump to lesson 1A. I'll go ahead and press OK. And here is my hyperlink. This is going to link to a place in the document. I forgot the P, so I'll right click on this and I'll click on Edit Hyperlink. And I'll say jump to lesson 1. I'll press OK. It tells me to Control click to follow the link. I'll Control, I'll click, and it jumps right to where that bookmark was as well. Right. I'll press Control End to go to the end of the document. I'll go to another line. Let's go ahead and insert another hyperlink. I'll press Control K this time. And again, I can jump to any one of these places in my document. So to the top of the document, headings, and bookmarks. So those are the things that we can navigate to. I want to link to an external page. So for the text, I'll say Learnit. And for the address, I'll go ahead and type in the address in here. Learnit.com. So there we go. Right. So to an existing web page, here's the text to display, and here is the address. I'm going to go ahead and press OK. Once I press OK, now I can press Control click to follow the link, and it brings me right to Learnit.com. So I'm good to go. So when it comes to navigating, we can either add a hyperlink. It can be either internal or external. Go ahead and add a few bookmarks. Go ahead and add at least a navigation item to a place in the document. Go ahead and add another hyperlink to your favorite website and come right back. Let's go ahead and insert footnotes and endnotes. I'm going to jump over to lesson 1 here. And to insert a footnote and or an endnote, we need to click on the References tab. And we have the footnote command group. Even though it says footnotes, we do have endnotes in here, and we have footnotes as well. So footnotes, basically, they will appear at the end of the page where you insert it. Endnotes will appear at the end of your document. So for inserting some media, I'll add a little footnote here. And notice how it leaves a space for me to add the footnote at the bottom of that page 1. So I'll say in order to insert media, I'll say click on the Insert tab, head on over to the Media command group, and click on Online Video. And that's it. If I scroll to the top, so now if my recipient is using this document, if they just mouse over that bookmark, they can see the text that appears below. They can also double click on it. Well, let's actually bring them to the actual footnote here as well. Well, what if I wanted to create a endnote? Right. So maybe on this page, I'll go ahead and create an endnote. So here's an endnote. Notice how it goes all the way to the last line at the very end of my document. So this is page 4. And for this, I'll say insert and then SmartArt. And that's it. Now I can right click here, and if I right click on that endnote, I can say go to endnote. So this is a navigation item as well. It brings me right to that particular endnote here as well. Let's see if I double click on this endnote, it does bring me to the context of that endnote here as well. I'll right click, I'll click on go to the endnote. Now we just want to be mindful, because when we inserted that endnote, it did insert at the very end of our document. We can still add content down here though. So if we wanted to add some content down here after the endnote, we can do so. So just be careful not to do that, right? So if you, as your document grows and you're adding content, you want to make sure that you add it before your actual endnote here as well. There's some other options. If you right click on the actual endnote or any footnote, we have what's called note options. And this will give us some more complex options here. So maybe we want to show endnotes not at the end of the document, but at the end of the section. If you're using sections in your document, we can do that. We can specify how many columns we want for our endnotes or footnotes if you have a lot of them. We can choose when to start the numbering at. We can also choose the numbering format. So a lot of other options here that are available for managing endnotes and or footnotes as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel, and I'll go ahead and right click here and right here for the endnote actually. And let's see, I can actually convert this to a footnote if I want to, and that will take care of that as well. Now you can actually move endnotes or footnotes. You just want to be mindful. If you do move them, you want to make sure that you move the entire thing. So if I go to EndNote here, so if you wanted to move this EndNote, you want to make sure that you move the text and the EndNote. If you move this to another place in the document, the EndNote will still exist. However, if you remove the text from it, that will be a little problematic. I don't recommend moving or rearranging your endnotes or your footnotes, but if you have to, just make sure you grab the entire line and not just the actual endnote or footnote or the text there as well. Add some endnotes and some footnotes and come right back. To wrap up lesson 4, we'll take a look at the new research tool. So under the References tab, we have what's called the Researcher. And this is just basically another or an alternate to bibliographies. So if you're creating academic documents here, remember we can insert bibliographies in here if we want to, but we will need to first manage our sources. So we can start by adding different sources, and after we add them, we can go ahead and insert them into a bibliography. But let's take a look at the research tool as an alternate here as well. So what if I want to do some research? I don't feel like opening up another browser. I just want to go ahead and find quotes, citable sources, and images for my document as well. I'll go ahead and click on, let me click down here. Just add a little space here. I'll click on Researcher. So it opens up a pane over here to the right. And we can research, add sources to the document, and they are automatically cited. All right, so I'll go ahead and do a quick search here. I'll do a search on, let's say, I don't know, VBA. Okay, so I'm talking about VBA here, and let's see, just want a nice article that I can use. So here are the different sources that it gives me. As you can see, it's quite a lot here. So I can go ahead and look for one that I want. Right. So let's go ahead and grab something here. Let me view the details of this one. Right, so this is, let's go ahead and add this. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to add this topic as a heading. Right, so here is my Visual Basic for application. So it inserts it as a heading here. And I'll go ahead and go ahead and add that. So if I find a source that I really like, I can go ahead and automatically have Microsoft Word include that citation for me. So here's a citation. Here's the properly sourced article that I just pulled up here as well. So really, really nice way to just as research right inside of Microsoft Word. You find an article you like, you can go ahead and read it. I can open this in reading view if I want to, and I can go ahead and just use this as my actual source. So really nice tool to be able to use. Here's my bibliography, and I am good to go. So go ahead and check that out. Go ahead and turn on the researcher. Go ahead and search for a couple of topics. Go ahead and add the bibliography there as well. So we can see the research tool is pretty robust. Now, traditionally, the way that we would insert a bibliography is first we would need to manage our sources. So under the References tab here, once I click on Manage Sources, so if you were doing a research paper, you would click here. And if you already have existing sources in here, what we can do is we can go ahead and just add that. Right? So we need to add them to the current list. But typically what we need to do is click on New, and first choose the style. So depending on what the style is, so we have MLA, we have APA, and we will choose the type, the source. So as you can see, if this were a website, the options change. We would need to go ahead and populate the author, the name of the web page. So all this information we would need to include and then press OK. So once we basically enter all of this information, we can add this to our list of sources. Once it's added, we can see our list of sources over here on the master list. And now it's a matter of inserting these into the current bibliography. So that's kind of the first step. You click on Manage Sources, you would insert your new source. And when you're ready, you can simply click on Bibliography and choose one of these bibliography styles here as well. Right? So this very first one automatically includes all the sources associated with the document. Right? Now, here's my bibliography here as well. I want to go ahead and add some more detail to it. So what I'll do is I'll click on Manage Sources. Maybe I want to go ahead and add, so I did add malware here. Another article on malware. As you click on the source on the left, on the bottom, we can see the details of that particular entry. So this is another website. Let's see, Microsoft Hardware. Another Microsoft website. Let's see if I can find one here. Don't think I had any journal entries in here or books. I think these are all websites. Let's see. These are all websites, it looks like. Okay, that's fine. So I'll go ahead and add that. Then I'll go ahead and click on Close. And now I need to go ahead and update my bibliography. So I'll click on my bibliography section here, and I'll click on Update Citations and Bibliography. And those three that I have over here on the right, we can see that they're now showing up in my bibliography. Right. So the researcher just saves a little bit of time because we don't have to manually fill out this information. The researcher automatically added that detail for us here as well. Very good. All right, that concludes our lesson 4. That concludes our lessons for Module 6. As a quick recap here, we're able to add multimedia and infographics into our document. We took a look at how we can collaborate with coworkers on tracking changes in a document. And we're able to insert some academic references and links as well. So we move on to Module 6. We'll take a look at how we can secure a document, different levels of protection. We'll create a fillable form. And we'll take a look at the VBA application for Microsoft Word as well. Go ahead and open up the Module 6 practice file and come right back and we'll dive in. Welcome back. I have my Microsoft Word Module 6 practice file open. Here is Lesson 5. We'll take a look at how we can restrict access to the document using several tools. What I'm going to do is click on the Review tab. And once I click on the Review tab, all the way to the right, we have a command group that's called Protect. So let's take a look at the different ways that we can protect our document. We'll see Block Authors. Now, Block Authors basically applies to a shared document. So once I save this document to the cloud, to either my OneDrive or my SharePoint, this feature will become active. What that basically allows me to do is select a portion of my document. I can highlight a portion of my document. For example, if I don't want my users to be able to make any edits to Lesson 5, I can block authors from making any changes to this chunk of text here as well. So again, it requires uploading it to OneDrive or SharePoint and sharing that document there as well. We'll focus on the local security options here as well. If I click on the Restrict Editing option here, I can see that there's basically a few things that I can do. I can specify the formatting restrictions. So I can basically tell my users, you can do this, but you cannot do that. You can edit text only, or you can use these particular styles. So we have that. The other one here is we have another high level type of restrictions Well, notice we'll have some of these security options when we share the document as well, such as read only or commenting and so forth and so on. Once we make a change, once we specify our formatting restrictions and or our editing restrictions, we need to go ahead and enforce the restrictions by clicking on this button. And this will basically allow us to enter a password to apply these different restrictions as well. Let's just take a quick preview of what we can do. So if I wanted to go ahead and limit the formatting, I can click on Settings here. And here is my formatting restrictions dialog box. So if I want to limit the formatting to a selection of styles, I can do this. So here are all the different styles. So we have text styles, we have list styles, we have table styles. We have a lot of different things that we can insert into our document from the Quick Parts Gallery. So I can basically pick and choose what I want to be able to access here as well. Now, we do have a couple of options. I can say, you know what, you can go ahead and select all. If I click here, everything is selected. So everything here is what can be done. I have the recommended minimum. So they can't use some of these list styles here. They can use some of the basic styles, none of the table styles. Right. So some basics here. Or I can go ahead and say none. Now, if I say none, basically there are no changes that will be able to be made to this document. Won't be able to edit text, add text, insert, delete, modify. There'll be no changes that can be made to the document. Down here on the bottom as well, if I want to go ahead and prevent themes from being used from the Design tab, so I can prevent themes from being chosen, or colors or fonts. I can also go ahead and block the quick style set here as well. And I can also choose to allow auto format to override formatting restrictions. I'm going to go back, put this back to all. We'll come back to this in just a little bit. We're just taking a brief tour to see what we can do in terms of limiting access to the document. Now, the second level here is editing restrictions. So we can only allow this type of editing in the document. So some of these are familiar. We have comments. So again, when we share a document, we see that we have the comment option available. Track changes, so they can only track changes. Only filling in forms. So when we go through our form tutorial, we'll see how we can lock down the document so that only the form can be interacted with. And then we have read only as well. So just some basic restrictions here that we can use. Remember, once we apply these different restrictions, we need to click on Enforce Protection down here. And that will basically allow us to enter a password. And from there, we can apply these different restrictions to our document as well. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these formatting restrictions. I'll go ahead and click on Settings here. And let me just put this all back to default here. So this is typically what it looks like. I want to go ahead and limit formatting. And I'm going to choose one of the high level items here. I don't want any formatting. So I'll go ahead and click on None. So this prevents any formatting, any selection of styles here. So none of these styles can be used. So I'm just selecting None, and I'll go ahead and press OK, and let's see what we can and cannot do with this document. I'll press OK. It's asking me to remove any existing styles. No, I don't want to do that. I want to leave everything intact. So obviously, if I highlight some chunk of text here, I can still use the styles right now. But I need to go ahead and start enforcing the protection. So remember, it's kind of really two levels. So first you choose the restrictions, and then you want to go ahead and start the protection here as well. So I'll click on Enforce Protection. Ask me to enter a password 2 times. I'll just put in a simple password and press OK. let's see what we can and can't do. So you'll notice right away, the only style that I can use is the normal style from the gallery. All of the other styles are hidden. I cannot even use them. If you take a look at the font commands, not a lot that I can do here. Paragraph commands, can't do much there as well. So again, these are based on styles. I'll scroll down to my table here. And if I click on table design, there are no styles. So I cannot use any table styles here as well. Right? But I can enter text. I can make edits, so I can enter text if I want to. I just can't change the style of that particular text. Right? So that's what this is about. I can do other things. I can change the themes, because this has really nothing to do with the style formatting here. I can choose my font and my colors if I want to, so I can go ahead and do that. But basically, wherever we see styles, any type of text formatting, we don't have that capability to do so. So that's what we can and cannot do with that option. I'll go ahead and stop the protection here, put in the password. And now all of my styles are back. I can go ahead and use them. Let's try another one here. Let's click on settings again this time. And this time let's use the recommended minimum. So I'll choose the recommended minimum, and in addition, I'll block the theme or scheme switching, and I'll go ahead and press OK. I don't want to remove my existing styles. I'll say no. I'll start the protection, put in my password 2 times here and press OK. And now let's see what we can do. So we can see that we have the basics here. So when it comes to protection, we have our basic styles here that we can use. If I scroll down to my table, let's see the table design. So the table design was not on the list of just the minimum there. So we cannot change the table style. Right. We can add text though. So we can still edit the document. And we cannot apply any of the font or paragraph commands. So we just have basic styles here, but none of the font commands. If I click on the design tab, I did disable the themes, so we cannot change a theme. However, we can use one of the document formatting templates, but I cannot change my colors or my fonts there as well. Okay, now your recipient will see the side pane over here, letting them know what they can and cannot do. If we click here on available styles, this will show us the style sets that are available. So again, only the basic styles that are available here as well. I'm going to stop the protection. I'll put in the password again. I'll go ahead and press OK. Let's do one more. Let's be very specific. We can only use one style in the entire document. I'll click on settings here. I'm going to say none, and I'm just going to scroll down to one of my table styles here. So I'll say we can only use the Grid Table 2 Accent 1 style. I'll go ahead and press OK. Going to go ahead and enforce the protection. And I'll press OK. So here we go. I'm highlighting text, font commands, no styles. If I go to the design tab, I still have the themes disabled, but we can use document formatting. I'm going to go down to the table here. I'll click on the table design tab, and we can see we only have that particular style available. So this Grid Table 2 Accent 1. So if I click on available styles, I only have the normal style available for my text here, and then I have this basic Grid Table 2 Accent 1. I'll go ahead and stop the protection, put in my password here. So that is the different ways that we can limit formatting to a document. go ahead and apply some different formatting options, or restrict, allow, and come right back and we'll take a look at some other editing restrictions. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a look at some editing restrictions here. So I'll click on this box that says only or allow only this type of editing. To keep things simple, I'm going to go ahead and remove the style formatting here. So I'll click on settings. I'm just going to clear this, put everything back to normal. And I'll go ahead and press OK. So I've basically reset that. And now, so the first one is just read only. So if I go ahead and enforce protection here, again, kind of the same thing as if you were applying the read only or view from the share command here. If I press OK, as you can see, can't do anything. I cannot add text, can't use any of the styles, a lot of things I can't do here as well. Right. So no inserting, no deleting, no modifying. I cannot do any of those here as well. If I click on the next region that I can edit, it searches the entire document, says there is no region that you can actually edit. I'll go ahead and stop the protection here. So basically we've just made this a read-only file. If I choose another one here, so the other option is to track changes, comments only, filling in forms. We'll take a look at this in just a little bit. And then we have, of course, read only here as well. Let's see what happens if we combine, let's see, read only with limiting the recommended minimum here. I'll go ahead and press OK. And let's just see if the read only will override the formatting restrictions. So I'll go ahead and put my password in here again. Go ahead and press OK. And let's see. So I cannot enter text. I cannot edit text. And in terms of styles, all of my styles are frozen. I cannot choose a theme. As far as table styles, I cannot choose a table style. So I'll go ahead and stop the protection here. So basically that read only overrides all of our formatting restrictions. So that's the top level that we can use here as well. I'll go ahead and press OK, and we're good to go. So these are different things that we can do, but just as a recap, we need to first go ahead and choose our restrictions, and then we need to go ahead and enforce those restrictions as well. Now there's some other options. We can add exceptions. Once we have uploaded our file to the cloud, we have some more advanced options that we can use. Again, being able to select parts of the document to see who can edit them, which is basically using the block authors here as well. I don't really have a good way to kind of model this because I don't have another copy of Microsoft Word. So let's see here. Trying to get that little, there it is. So keep others from making changes to the selected text. Right? It tells us right now it's disabled until we save it to a supported share location, such as OneDrive and or SharePoint. But once we do that, it's just a matter of selecting the text and clicking on block authors, and we'll be good to go from there. The other high level that we can do, if you click on the File tab, you'll notice some of these are also available. So if you click on the File tab and go to Info, we have this Protect Document dialog here as well. And it gives us multiple options or multiple ways that we can protect the document. So again, we kind of talked about this already. Read only. This one is a little different. You may notice by default, whenever you receive a file over the network, that automatically you get a read-only banner, and you need to click on that banner to enable editing here as well. This is the single highest level of security that we can use. We can encrypt this entire document with a password. The other one, restrict editing. That's basically what we were able to open. If we click here, it opens up the restrict editing pane here for us. I'll go back to File, Info, Protect Document. And then we have some more micro level access that we can use here as well. Right? If I click on Encrypt with Password, it basically asks me to enter the password 2 times, and we'll not be able to see the contents of the document until we actually enter the password here as well. So those are the basics for security. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I remove these restrictions. I'll go ahead and close my restrict editing, and I'm good to go. All of my styles are available, and I can make changes to my document as well. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and move on to lesson number 6, creating a fillable form. To create a fillable form, we're first going to insert a table into our document. I already have a table here inserted. We're inserting a table because it gives us more control. We can resize the columns and the rows, and we can add as much detail as we can. We don't have to worry about the line breaks and the tab breaks here as well. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at an existing form. We'll take a look at a simple one. I'll click on the File tab here, and then I'll click on New, and let's go ahead and search for some forms. So I'll type form in here. I'll press Enter. And let's see. So here's a basic form, a cash donation form. So we can see we just have some basic form controls in here like checkboxes. If I scroll down a little bit here, yeah, they're all pretty basic, but let's just take a look at an actual fillable form. I'll go ahead and click on this one, agreement to receive electronic communication. I'll go ahead and click on create. We'll just quickly take a look at it here. So we can see that this form is ready for being filled in here. Right, so I can go ahead and fill this out just by pressing tab. No need to use the PDF fillable forms here to pay money for that. We can create it right here as well. Some checkboxes in here, preferred method of communication. I'll check off this box that says email. Then we have some other things down here as well, like a signature. We can put in the date in here as well. And so this all works. Actually, some basic form controls in here. In order for us to add these form controls to our table, we need to turn on the developer tab. So let's go ahead and turn on the developer tab. We won't be creating a form that's as robust as this one. This will take a really long time. As we can see, we have a lot of cells in here that are merged. Some are split. We have a background color, but we just want the basics. Once we turn on the developer tab, we'll see the tools that are available, and then we can go ahead and start building our form. I'm going to go ahead and close this document. Actually, I'm going to copy this table. I have a little bit of it to practice on here. So I'll put it, add a page break. I'll press Control Enter to add a page break. I'm going to go ahead and paste this here. I'm going to, I'll use the destination theme. I don't want the entire thing though, I just want the top portion. So I'll go ahead and delete the rest of these here. So I'll go ahead and delete those rows. And there we go, right? So just a basic shell to work from here. Okay, very good. So let's go ahead and turn on the developer tab. To do that, there's a couple of ways that we can do that. With the newer version of Office, we can right click on any one of these tabs, and we'll notice that we have the customize the ribbon option here. We can also go there the traditional way just by clicking on the File tab and clicking on Options. So here's how to get there. Just right clicking on any one of those tabs. It brings us right to the Customize Ribbon section. And basically what we want to do is locate the Developer tab over here on the right side. If you're using an organization computer, just make sure to reach out to your IT department if you do not see the Developer tab here. You may need to either condense some of these tabs. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Developer tab here. So the traditional way to get here, if right clicking does not work for you, we can click on File, we can go to Options, and it brings us here as well. We simply need to click on Customize the Ribbon. So go ahead and choose either way that you want to. Go ahead and locate the Developer tab. Make sure it's turned on. And then press OK. So 1, 2, and then 3. We're good to go. I'll go ahead and press OK. And now I'll locate my Developer tab, which is right here. Here's my Developer tab. Now I see I have some form controls in here that I can use. And we'll use these form controls to build out a simple form. And then we'll see if we have time, we'll go ahead and modify that table that I copied and pasted below as well. So go ahead and turn on your Developer tab and come right back. Now that we have the Developer tab turned on, we can go ahead and add some controls into our table here. Now we won't have time to create a really long and robust form. Let's just keep it simple. The top here, this is just going to be a registration form. And I want the name, so I need the name. We'll put a drop down here for the department. We'll ask a question to see if transportation is required. So that will be a simple yes or no. So we have name, department, transportation, and let's go ahead and insert another row here. So row below, and this will be, say, date registered. Right. I'm going to go ahead and merge this top row, and I'm going to go ahead and center the text on here. There we go. I'll also give it a quick table design or table style. That looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and use that one. Okay, so now here's where the work comes in. We need to go ahead. Now, I'm going to click on the Developer tab. So here are the different controls. We have rich text. So this allows us to enter some text with some advanced formatting. We have plain text. We have a picture content control. So we can click on that control and actually add a picture. We have a checkbox control. So basically checked or unchecked. And then the next two are kind of identical. We have a combo box content control. We can provide our recipients with a option to choose from. Same as the drop-down list. We have a date picker. So we can insert a date picker. So they can simply click on a day and the date will be entered right onto the form. And then we have some other controls here that are a little more advanced and some of the older legacy form tools. For the name, let's just go ahead and insert a rich text content control. So if we wanted to, we can go ahead and resize our table if we want to, but we'll keep it simple. I'll go ahead and insert a text here as well. So right there, our user will get the caption here to click or tap to enter text. For the next one, department. For this one, I want to create a drop-down list of items. So I'll click on drop-down list content control. It says to choose an item. There are no items to choose from. So what I'm going to do is take a look at the properties of this particular control. So I'll actually click here and I'll click on properties for this particular control. Now once I click on here, I can give it a title. The title will not show up here. This is just for advanced editing. So what I want to focus on, I want to go ahead and add a couple of options here. So I want them to be able to choose from different departments. So down here, drop down list properties, I'll click on add, and I'll put OIT, which is Office of Information Technology. I'll press OK. I'll add HRS for human resources. And maybe I'll add two more. Maybe one will be for administration and one for maybe marketing, MKT. So just a simple control. I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And now the next time I interact with that control, I can click here and choose from a list of options. So pretty cool. For the next one, so we've done a rich text content control. We've used the drop-down list. Let's go ahead and use a simple checkbox control. And this will basically be yes or no. So if it's checked, they need it. If it's unchecked, they don't need it. We can even put one in here. One is for yes, one is for no. We can do that if we want to as well. But I'm going to go ahead and keep this simple. Now, date registered, we'll use the date picker. And there you go. So it puts in that date picker for us. And this is a basic form. So let's go ahead and fill it out. Type my name in here. Now, it is based on the table style, so we have all these text that's in here. And that's pretty cool because we don't have to worry about formatting all of these controls individually. So I'm from the Office of Information Technology. I do need transportation. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the down arrow here. And I'll put in today's date. So I'll just click today. And there you go. My form is completed. Now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and just kind of move things around here. All the table tools that I have for the layout, I can choose the colors, the fonts. I can align things a little differently. Right now, everything is aligned to the center. So if I want to go ahead and see if I can align these to the left. So I can align everything to the left here as well. So that is how that works. Right. Now, one of the things that I can do is I can, let's see. Now, we'll discuss that when we come back. Go ahead and add those 4 form controls to your document. Go ahead and fill it out and then come right back. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few more things here. We'll take a look at the design mode, and we'll actually go ahead and use one other form control here. That's for an image. So let's go ahead and insert another row here. So I'll insert a row below, and I'll say go ahead and validate with a pic. I know, sounds cheesy. I'll go ahead and add a picture placeholder in here. And this, I'm gonna delete a few line breaks here so I can fit my form on one page. There we go. So now we can validate with a pic. So now we can go ahead and click on this placeholder here, make it a little more dynamic. We can go ahead and insert a picture. I can insert one from a file. You know what, I'll grab one from a stock image. And I'll grab this one here. Right. So there we go. Here's a picture. That's not me, but I can crop this here. There we go. So there we go. Form is complete. I'll go ahead and align this to the left. And there you go. Now, if we take a look down here, we have not done any more advanced, editing here for our form. Just going to scroll down to the other form that I copied here. And when I'm on the developer tab, I'll click on the design mode. And that basically will show us the name of these different, one, it will show us where the form controls are, and it will show us the names of them as well. So I'll click on design mode here. And as we can see, we have different form controls and their names. So first name, middle name, right? So here are the basic form controls. So just basic ones, nothing really dynamic here as well. If we scroll back up to hours, right, we have more dynamic ones in here. We have a drop down, we have a checkbox, a date picker, we have a picture tool here as well. Now all these form controls will have their own set of properties. Here's the text. Here's the date picker. We took a look at this and we're able to modify it as well. Now one thing you may want to do is you may want to go into the properties of these different form controls. You want to make sure that the content control cannot be deleted. Because if I do something like this, let me exit design mode. If I'm just trying to delete my name and I press the delete key, it deletes everything, my name and the form control. I don't want that to happen. So I'll undo that. I'm going to go ahead and click on the form control. I'll click on properties. I want to make sure that the content control cannot be deleted. This way, if I make a mistake, see, I cannot delete it. So now I need to be a little more patient, highlight the text inside, and delete that as well. So I highly recommend that we do that. So one of the things you may want to do when you're creating a form is you want to make sure that your recipient can only interact with the actual form. So maybe this is just some instructional text that's kind of surrounding it, but here's where you want your recipient to focus on. So to do that, we're going to click on Restrict Editing. Now notice that in the Developer tab, we have that same protection command group that we had from the Review tab. Because one of the things that we do naturally is to protect the form. So we can do it from either way. I'm already on the Developer tab. And once I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and click on Restrict Editing. And let's see how we can restrict our user to only interact with the actual form. I'll click on Editing Restrictions. I only want my users to be able to fill in forms. So there we go. Microsoft has already recognized and marked all the form controls. So all these cells will be able to interact with. I'll go ahead and click on Yes, Start Enforcing Protection. Put in my password. And let's give it a quick test. Let's see what we can and can't do. Right away, it tells us that this document is protected and you may only fill in forms in this region. So let's see. If I try to click on another chunk of text, I can't even do it. So now I can interact with the form. So I can go ahead and change my name here. Let's see. I'll change my name, or I'll choose my department rather. I'll go for HR. I don't want transportation. And I registered yesterday. Go ahead and change my name. I'll say J. Bradley. And there we go. Now there's some form controls down here as well. So I should be able to interact with these form controls down here as well, but cannot make any other changes to the actual document. So very good. So those are the basics with working with a form. Again, this is a basic form here. I recommend using an existing template and just making some modifications to it so that you can make it your own. For example, this particular template, instead of choosing the month, day, and year, I'll just insert the date picker in here as one control that takes care of that there as well. For the do agree, I'll just put a checkbox control in here to take care of that as well. So those are the basics. I'm going to go ahead and stop protection here so I can continue editing my document. And here I go. I'll go ahead and uncheck this. I'll close this out and I'm good to go. Welcome back. So here's a really nice form. Now, Microsoft has basically modernized the response collection experience for us. So if you don't necessarily want to create a fillable form via Microsoft Word, we can actually create an online form, and then we can simply maybe go ahead and copy and paste the link right in here in our Word document. Let's take a brief tour of the Forms app on Microsoft. So what I need to go head on over to office.com. So here it is. Here's my Sandbox account. I'm logged in over here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the app launcher here. We can also just go to forms.microsoft.com. That will bring us there as well. But I'll go ahead and just show you what we can do. Here's the Forms app. Okay. So again, we can go to forms.office.com, and I'll go ahead and click on a new form. As you can see, I have some forms here. I'll click on new form. And here is the canvas here for our new form. Now we'll kind of make our way around. We'll start by basically adding our questions for the form. We'll go ahead and preview it. And then we'll go ahead and collect responses. And then we'll view the responses as well. So let's call this event registration. And we can see sometimes we'll get a little AI tool that runs down here on the bottom. Based on the title of your form, you'll get some questions or fields that you can automatically add to your form, such as the full name, email. Let's see, some other things in here as well. So these, we can just simply click on them. So if I want to click on full name, and I go ahead and press add selected, let's say I'll do full name and email. So those two are selected here. Now I'll go ahead and click on add selected. That will actually add those for me. So these are two response fields. Type in your full name and then type in your email down here as well. But I'm not going to assume that this is showing for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these recommended fields here. I'm also going to delete these questions, and let's just insert all of these manually here as well. So I'm just starting from scratch here. So I'll go ahead and add new, and what type of field do I want? Do I want a text field, a date field, or a choice? Well, I want text. This will be for name. So I'll click on text, and I'll just give it, I'll say full name. I'll make this required. You have to enter your name to be able to register. If I want to provide more room for text entry, I can choose long answer here, but I'm good to go. I'll click on add new. Next one is going to be a choice. So this one will be department. So again, the same fields that we had in our Word form. So the first option is going to be OIT. The second option is going to be human resources. I can click on add an option to add another here. So I'll add ADM for administration. I'll add one more option for marketing. And there we go. So two down, I can make this required as well. I'll go ahead and add a new one. And this one is going to be, let's see what other options we have here. We have ranking. That's fine. I'll just go for a single choice. I'll say if transportation needed. And it's just going to be either a yes or a no. Sometimes we'll get these cues here as well. It recognizes the question as a simple yes or no, close-ended question. I can either choose that or I can type it in manually. So that's three down. I'll go ahead and add a new question here. This is for the registration date. So I'll click on the date here. And I'll say date registered. I'm good to go. The field's already dynamic. I'll add one more. I'll add, actually, I think that's good. I'll leave it here as well. So if I click away from the form, I'll click on preview. Let's see what that looks like. Gives me the chance to make any changes if I need to. So this is what it looks like from the user point of view. So here's the title, and enter your name, department, and so forth and so on. If you want to see what this looks like on the mobile platform, it always looks so much nicer on the mobile platform. But here we go. So this is exactly what it will look like here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and press back. So the next thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and collect responses. So over here on the top right, I'll click on collect responses. Now what this will allow me to do is to basically decide who can respond. I want to say anyone can respond to this particular form. It doesn't require sign-in. If you do choose inside of your organization, you have more options to choose from. I want anyone to be able to respond, and I can either choose a link, which is what I want to do. I can also send the form individually to my colleagues here. If I want to, I can grab a QR code. I can embed the code into a web page if I'm using one. Here's what the dialog looks like if I click on invitation. Right. I can send it via Outlook. Here's the QR code that I can download, maybe post by the water cooler. Here's the embed code, but I want the link. Optionally, I can shorten the URL if I want to. I'll click on copy link, and it's copied to my clipboard, and I'm good to go. Going to go ahead and close this. There's some other options here. If you want to, you can choose a style. There's different style sets to choose from. You don't have to go with this default color here. If you click on style, you can change the color. You can even add background music if you want to. I'll make this a little more dynamic. I'll choose this option here. There we go. So this is what it would look like. All right, very good. So I'm collecting responses here. I'm going to go ahead and respond by clicking on preview. Now remember, I did copy that link to the clipboard, so I'll go back to Word and I'll just say something like, I'll say, please register here. And I'll go ahead and paste the link right there. So if I click on this link, control click to follow, it's going to open up in my default browser for me. I'll bring that over here. Now I can go ahead and fill this out and I'm good to go. So pretty nice. I'll keep it simple though. I'll just go I'll go back. I'll click on preview and I'll go ahead and fill this out. I'll click on start now. I'll say Jones, OIT, yes, transportation please. And for the date, I'll choose today's date and submit. That's it, I'm done. So as my responses come in, I can click on responses over here. And it shows me basically the response, gives me some visuals here in terms of how many of my recipients needs transportation, how many are from each office, and the dates registered here as well. It's a really nice way to just kind of collect, no need to save anything. Once we're all done, we can actually open this into an Excel file here as well, and then we can go ahead and run some analysis on the actual data. So those are Microsoft Forms. So you can either create a fillable form, or you can go ahead and place a link right here to an online Microsoft form. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and move on to lesson 7. We're going to create 2 basic macros here. Now, according to Microsoft, we can automate frequently used tasks by creating and running macros. So basically, when we record a macro, it's basically recording everything that we do. So commands, instructions, and they are basically replayed in sequence. So for example, selecting text, these are instructions, applying a color, that's basically a command. So any kind of selecting an object, working with an object, that's how recording macros work. Now, with the modern version of Microsoft Office, or specifically in Word, there's a lot of things that we can automate. So remember, we can always insert quick parts into our document. So we can actually create reusable content that we can quickly just add to our document here as well. But let's go ahead and take a look. There's still room for macros in Microsoft Word. Let's go ahead and create a basic signature. So for the macros, I'm going to be using two tables. So we'll insert a pre-filled table as a macro, and we'll go ahead and insert a basic signature here as well. So what if on every document, that's typically how we record a macro, or why we would need to record a macro, we say, well, what if we're always doing this over and over and over again? Why not create a macro to take care of those steps for us? So what I'm going to do, I already have my developer tab turned on. So let's click on the developer tab. We're going to head on over to the code command group, and we're going to go ahead and record a macro. Once we record a macro, we can view the macros in our library. We can also take a look at the code that's running for that particular macro as well. So the first thing, we just need a reason to create a macro. So I'm going to go ahead and create a basic signature. It's going to look like a email signature. My name, my role, my company, and maybe my email address as well. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on the developer tab. I'll click on record macro. Now, here's how we set up our macro. We need to go ahead and give the macro a name. We need to decide whether we're going to use a keyboard shortcut to run the macro, or if we want to go ahead and add a button to our quick access toolbar to run the macro. If you're sharing this document with a team member, you may want to add a button to the document so that they can simply click on it to run the macro. The other part is, well, where do you want to store the macro? Do you want it to be available every time you open Microsoft Word, or just in this particular document? Well, I just want it to be available in this particular document. So I'll just click here. I'll put a brief description here as well. And I'll just say this is going to be my signature. Let's give it a name. I'll call it a signature. When you're naming a macro, you cannot have any spaces. I'm going to assign a button control to it. We'll do both. We'll assign a keyboard shortcut and a button as well. This is just for me, so maybe I'll just assign a keyboard shortcut. So I'll click on keyboard here, and it pulls up the customized keyboard. So basically I just need to go ahead and enter a keyboard combination here to see what I want to use to be able to run my macro. So if I press Control C, it tells me that that's already in use. That's the copy, so I don't want to do that. I want to do something like Control Shift, maybe Control Shift and a letter, right? So Control Shift S. And right now it's currently using the Style Apply pane. I don't really use that shortcut. So I only want this to be stored in my practice file. And that's it. So my shortcut key, I press Control Shift plus S right here. And that's going to be my new shortcut to run the signature. I'll click on Assign. And then I'll go ahead and click Close. Once I do that, you'll notice my cursor has changed to this little tiny, looks like an old cassette, because I'm recording here. So everything I do now will be recorded. I'm going to keep it simple. I'll click on the Insert tab, and I'll insert a table. And let's see, I want just a basic table. Let's see, name, role, company, email, and let's see if I can actually add an icon in there as well. So here's my table. On the first line, I'll put my name. So I'll say Mo Jones. I'll press the arrow key to go down. I'll say instructor. Go down one more time with the arrow key. And I'll put Learnit. Then I'll put in a fictitious email here. So I'll just say mo@nomail.com. I'll go down and I'm going to go ahead and insert a little icon. Let's see what happens here. But before I do that, I'll change the table design. I'll change the table style here. I'll choose a nice table style. Maybe I'll go for this one. And then I'll go ahead and insert a icon. Why not? Something related to learning. Go ahead and add this one here. And finally, I'll just change the layout so it's auto-fitting the contents. I don't want it to be that wide. So I'll click on the layout tab. Now remember, Word is recording everything that I'm doing here. So for the auto fit, I'll choose auto fit contents. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and stop recording now. I'm done. I'll click on the developer tab and I'll stop recording. And that's it. I'm good to go. Let's go ahead and give it a quick test. I'll go down a few lines here. And I did assign a shortcut key, right? I said Control-Shift-S. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see what happens. Control-Shift-S. And look at that. So pretty cool. Nice little signature. I could have removed the borders so it's, we don't visibly see the borders. I could have done that here as well, but we'll just keep it simple. Right? I use the table. It's a little difficult to format text when you're recording a macro. Go ahead and record your first macro. Go ahead and insert a basic signature table and come right back. We'll create one more. Welcome back. Now I did remove those two tables here just to make a little room for my document. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead, let's say I'm an inventory manager. I actually was an inventory manager at one point, and I used to find myself kind of doing the same thing, right? Inserting a table with, make, model, ID number, price, and how many items we have in stock as well. So instead of me doing this, right, and go ahead and typing things like the ID number, category, make, model, price, and so forth and so on. And then, formatting this as such, well, instead of doing all that, I can go ahead and create a nice macro for that. So I'll need about 6 columns. I'll put about maybe 4 rows in here as well. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this table. And let's record a macro. So I'll click on the developer tab. I'll click on record macro. This time I want to go ahead, I'll give it a name first. Right? I'll say INV table. Again, no spaces, so I'm keeping everything together here. I only want to use this macro in this workbook. This time, I want to go ahead and assign a button to it. I'll put a little description in here as well. So I'll say table template for inventory. So good to go. Got my macro name. I'm storing it in this document. Here's my description. I'll go ahead and assign a button to it as well. When you click on the button, you get this really confusing dialog box here. But basically, when you assign a button to a macro, it wants to add that button to your quick access toolbar. So here's my list of macros. I want to go ahead and choose this, basically add it to my quick access toolbar. So you can see I already have 2 over here as well. I'm going to go to remove these. Actually, I'll leave them for now. I'll go ahead and add that one here. And I'll go ahead and press OK. So now I'm recording. I'll go ahead and insert that table. I did say I needed about 6 columns. And I'll go with 5 rows. There we go. And give it a table style ahead of time. And I'll go for something a little more colorful this time. So here we go. So I'll go ahead and put in the tag number. Press the tab key to move over. This is going to be the category. I have make, I have model, I have price, and I have the stock. I made a little error here, but that's okay. I can go back and fix this once I'm done. All right. What about layout options? What if I want to make sure everything is centered? So I'm going to go ahead and select the entire table. And I want everything to be centered like that as well. All right. For the table design, if I don't want that first column to be formatted like that, I can turn off the formatting. Just like that. We'll also take a look at how we can update some of these options here once we step into the macro. All right. Well, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and click back on the developer tab here. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And there we go. So I've stopped recording. Now, as I was building this table, if I used a command like insert a row or insert a column, the macro would have recorded that there as well. But let's go ahead and insert this table. Here's my macro. Let's see. There we go. Inventory table. And there we go. So it drops in that table right here for me as well. Let's go ahead and step into that macro. Now, the macros library, I'm going to take a look at all of my existing macros. So I'll click on macros here. This will show me those 2 macros that I recorded, and I'll have some capabilities. So let me just show it for this document here. There we go. So here's my signature macro. So I can run the macro right from here if I want to. So I don't necessarily have to use a shortcut key or the quick access toolbar. I can step into the macro, and this is a great way to see how the code is working. I can edit the macro. I can delete the macro if I want to. Let's go ahead and step into the macro and watch it run line by line. So I'll click on step into. Here's my Visual Basic for Applications window. It looks like Excel 2003. Has not really changed much in the last 20 years or so. So basically, when we are working with a Word document and we run a macro, it creates a module for us based on that file. So here's my file, here's my document. It creates a module, and that module basically holds my macros. So here are my 2 macros that I created. And here's all the code. I'm going to move this over a little bit so we can see it running line by line. So macros are object oriented. You first have to select an object and then apply some type of method, add a value, or change a property of that particular object. So in this case, it says create a subroutine called signature. If I press the F8 key, it goes to the next line. So now it's just selecting the active document, which is my Word document, and it's getting ready to add a table. 5 rows, and let's see, 5 rows, 1 column. So just the default table here as well. If I press the F8 key, so here's my actual table. So just the basic table here. And it's checking to see if the table has a style. So that table grid. So basically, if it does not have a style, then give it the grid style. So just the basic style here. Next, it's going to go ahead and decide whether the header row, that top row, is going to have special formatting. Yes, it does. Last row does not have special formatting. First column does, and so forth and so on. Then we go down, we start entering the text. So with whatever I selected with my mouse, that first cell was selected, we're going to go ahead and add the text Mo Jones in there. So there's Mo Jones. We can see with the formatting for that first row. And then it heads on over to the next one here. So with selection, we'll put instructor in there. And then Learnit. If I wanted to change this, I could. I can simply change the name right here as long as I stay within the quotation. So instead of Learnit, I'll say work at home. So I'll go ahead and press the F8 key. It says work at home. And here's my email. Go ahead and use that. So we're just going down. And now it wants to apply the table style. I did choose grid 2 accent 1. I can change it right here if I want to. Maybe I want grid table 4 accent 1. Let's see what that does. I actually gave the same one. I was trying to change it to another one. All right. And then here's the add picture command. So this is a little more advanced, right? So with the cell that's selected, inline shapes, it's using the add picture command, and the file name is the URL for that particular icon that I inserted here. So there's my icon, and then we have the autofit behavior to autofit to the actual content. And then we end the sub, and there we go. I want to change this actually. Let's see, style 4. Let's see what happens. So that is how we step into it. I want to make sure I click on reset here before I leave, just to make sure, because if I'm still in the middle of running something, it will not allow me to interact with Word. So I'll go ahead and click reset here, and I'm good to go. So those are just the basics on how we can create a macro to repeat tasks. And we can also go into the editor if need, and we can go ahead and change either the content or the formatting or the styles here as well. Now again, there's a lot of things that we can automate currently in Word. So macros are really useful when you want to create buttons to be able to share a document with a particular user. You can provide them with instructions. Click on that button to perform this particular task or these series of tasks here as well. If I click back on my macro library, other things I can do, I can go ahead and delete a macro from here if I want to. I can create a macro from here. I can also go ahead and edit a macro. So if you click on edit macro, it pulls up the VBA window for us again here. And we can go ahead and just make any changes here that we want to as well. Well, congratulations on completing our Word Advanced course. That wraps up Module 6. As a quick recap, we're able to secure a document. We're able to create a fillable form right inside of Microsoft Word. We saw how we can secure the document so that our users can only fill out the form. We also took a look at the online form features as well. And then we're able to create macros to automate repetitive tasks. We took a brief look at the VBA interface to see how we can step into a macro and manage our macros as well. So congrats on completing the course, and I look forward to teaching you in a future course.